Get Valiant, episode number 106.
The big 106.
Yeah, because that's a relevant number to something. It still sounds like a radio station, man. Get
Uh-huh.
Valiant 106.
The 106.
Um, so I don't know. I still, because I suck, I haven't watched the whole thing yet. But you got to do episode. If eagle-eyed observers may notice that our last episode on YouTube was Get Valiant 104, and this one is 106. And the reason for that is that if you didn't notice, Josh was live on our Facebook group with a very special guest slash co-host.
Yeah, it kind of happened by random accident. So just to get to all that, I was asked to do a podcast at a local comic book shop here in Salt Lake called the Nerd Store, and they were doing a big Valiant Comics Day. So they had a presentation where they're rolling out their new variant for Bloodshot Rising Spirit. They had Kevin Porter from the web series Ninja versus the Valiant Universe there. And then they asked me to be there to do a live podcast. But I didn't have anyone to do it with. And I didn't know when I was going to do it either. So I was like, oh shit, I don't even know how to ask you to try to be a part of it because I had no idea when I was even supposed to be on. Like they had a schedule and I didn't know the schedule. And then I was like, shit, I guess I'll just do it myself because I know that you're always busy with band stuff. But I arrived and my co-host was Kevin Porter. So he was nice enough to do it. He wanted to do it. He's very talkative if you've been around him. He was pretty nice. I mean, he did all the talking, so I didn't have to do anything, which is how I prefer it. We're gonna be honest. I mean, I need people to do all the work for me.
Oh,
But yeah, it was. I think I ended up saying on the podcast or on that it was a live video to our Facebook. I said, "Oh yeah, get Valiant 105." It was kind of like a not thinking about it thing. It's just we do this every week. The number is always in my head, and I always just I guess I was just like, "Oh yeah, 105." But so at some point we'll get that rolled out as a podcast episode. I have an audio clip of it also. And then Kevin streamed the interview on his feed to whatever his Twitter maybe or something like that.
Instagram, I think maybe.
Yeah, maybe that. And it was really cool. And then like I ended up going to dinner with him and a bunch of the dudes from the Nerd Store that night. And he's just really nice, talkative guy talking about film and things like that he's into. You know, it was a cool time.
I'm jelly. You don't even need me.
Oh, I will always need you, Eric. If nothing else, you make the link for the episode every week. I don't even know how to do that.
Oh man.
But no, I mean, it was a good time. And I always feel like if I had the opportunity to do anything, I should always take advantage of it, even if I don't want to or if I'm not comfortable doing it. Because honestly, I was like, I don't even know what to do. If there's no one there to be on with me, then I'm just there. And they had like the way that their shop is set up, there was like a place in the back with like 30 chairs of people who were going to watch me do a podcast. Luckily, the weather was terrible and there was no one there to watch me. But it ended up working. You know, it was fun. So I always feel like if someone asks me to do it, like I'll do my best to do it, just because like I like doing the podcast so much. I like doing it, you know. So if I can, I will.
No, that's really cool that you got to talk to him again and yeah, no, that's awesome and it seemed like you had a good time, so
It
definitely
was a
happy
good time.
that you got to do that. Um so it was re-announced that there's a director attached to the Harbinger movie, but apparently he's been attached since last year, so
Well, it's funny because like everybody was just like, "Oh, the director's attached," but no one knew who this guy was. And then like Dinesh was like, "No, no, no! Like this guy was part of the plan the entire time." But I don't remember that personally. I don't remember reading that. I think the only thing we had ever really, I had ever remember hearing was that all the Bloodshot stuff was kind of set up. So if they have someone for Harbinger, it's cool. He's never really done anything that I've heard of. I've heard of the show he was on, the Chi, that he directed a couple episodes of, but that's about it. So
Not something I'm even familiar with. So yeah, I have no idea. I can only wait and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we do get a Harbinger movie. I remember there were Sony was talking about um, um, hiring somebody to write a Faith movie. Um, I don't know. I mean, it would be definitely be cool to see more Valiant movies coming out if everything else is going to get a movie.
yeah,
Um, I'm just trying to think if there was any other specific news that had come out um, recently, other than
I
it
don't
being
really think
Thanksgiving.
there was anything else.
Yeah, did we talk about the Forgotten Queen? I think we talked about that last time.
I think we did talk about that a couple weeks ago, and yeah, we talked about it. I had a strong opinion of things.
Well, we won't go back into that. Jason is talking about whether or not there's a Harbinger script, but
There
there
is,
was,
there
yeah,
was.
I mean, Eric Heiser wrote 5 scripts, didn't he?
He wrote at least two. He may have written the Harbinger Wars one. We don't know that yet, but supposedly part of the whole reason with him doing Secret Weapons was that he was so familiar with Livewire, based upon the treatment that he wrote of a Harbinger script. I believe that with this director that's attached, he was also brought in to kind of work on the script just a little bit, just to kind of fine tune things. But I mean, who knows at this point, really? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I have no idea. Anthony's in the live chat saying he wants Valiant animation, and I think that would be amazing. I mean, I really wish that there was, because like DC has done some amazing animated movies for their characters, and I just want. Can you imagine like an Exo Manowar animated movie? I mean, that would be just
man,
balls to the wall
it'd be
amazing.
so cool. But I mean, to me, it's like I mean, if that's what it takes to get the properties out there, yeah, I would hope for a movie personally, just because like I think they're setting things up right now where like I think Bloodshot's a movie that they probably don't need to have a lot of money tied into, and if it's successful, it's going to propel the next property, and then maybe if they can find success with a couple of movies, they can put a lot of budget toward doing Exo Manowar because that would be a movie I think that would kind of require a lot of work to it. But anything really, I mean, I'm not picky. I don't think. I mean, I have my preference, obviously, but you know what? I mean, animated movies are just as good sometimes, if not better.
I think that animated Quantum and Woody TV show would be perfect.
Yes,
Animated Delinquents show with Archer and Armstrong and Quantum and Woody.
yes,
That would be pretty amazing. Um, yeah, I mean they're talking about like that Spider-Verse movie that Sony is doing coming out here. That looks like it's going to be awesome. Like I said, there have been a lot of really good DC animated movies. I I don't know. We all just want more Valiant stuff, and unfortunately, we still just get the comics. Okay, here's something I want to gripe about. As
all right.
cool as it is that there's another company doing a Bloodshot figure, it's really frustrating that it's another one that is way, way out of a reasonable price range for me. I
I
just want
totally agree
something
with
that's like,
this.
I want something that's 25 bucks. That's what I want.
Well, even like, I mean, like, I don't have like a ton of money either. So, like, to me, like, if they're gonna do stuff like that, why not do something where it's like, hey, we're gonna do like a mini bust where it's like his head, or maybe like one of those like head and torso kind of things, maybe like holding a gun or something like that, and it's like $50. And I feel like sometimes Valiant maybe has a little bit too much like it's a little bit too collector driven, where it's like, hey guys, we can't get you anything except for a $200 posable figure. We can't do anything except for a $600 statue.
Right.
I mean, that stuff's cool, but like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, sometimes I just think, like, you couldn't find someone else who would do, like, a bust. And I mean, like, I think it, like, New York Comic Con, someone had showed a picture of how they're doing a Faith mini bust. And I mean, so obviously they have people who can do these things. I mean, and it's not like the hardest thing, I guess, to do, but you really couldn't do something like that for like a popular character like that. Like, it's just, it can only be the thing that's going to break the bank for someone. Like, it made sense with the first Bloodshot statue that Quarantine Studios did. It was $200. It's a really nice statue. Um, and I understand like when you pay money for like that kind of a statue, they're a little bit pricey. But then like they did the Rye one that was like $500, and it's like shit. I'm not gonna get that. That's $500. You know, that's a lot of money. I can go buy like a bunch of statues from other companies for like that money. You know,
Yeah.
have a collection. I could start a collection for that kind of money.
Yeah, like have 10 other statues.
And now it's like this one, and I mean, and I didn't look too hard at it, but it was like $600 or $700 or something like that. And it's just like, who cares, man? Like, like at some point, you know, you're just gonna like drive people away from like even trying to get things like that because every single thing is going to be so expensive. And I feel like sometimes for me it's like, oh, maybe I'll get the next thing. I can't get the Bloodshot posable figure that costs $200 or $150. Maybe I can get the next small thing. There's not a small thing ever. It's always just something big and expensive.
Yeah. That's the frustrating thing for me is like I'm a huge Bloodshot fan, and it's awesome that they're doing all these things with Bloodshot. Like it's all Bloodshot statues coming out for the most part. But I mean, when none of them are accessible to your normal collector, your normal fan, and it's only for the high-end collectors who can, throw hundreds upon hundreds of dollars around willy-nilly, I mean, I don't know, it's just disappointing. To see it consistently. When they did a statue and their first thing that they put out was that statue and it was a couple $100, okay, I understand. The first figure that they're able to get out, $150, okay, I understand. At least you're getting it out there and it is something for the collectors. But then to do another several $100 statue and not, I mean, that's already on the market, right? Like we already have a super expensive Bloodshot statue. What the market doesn't have is an affordable Bloodshot figure or an affordable Eternal Warrior figure, or Ninjak, or anybody, Like, I mean, we don't have any of that stuff. Give me a live wire for $20, Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just frustrating.
I
Give me
hear
a
you.
face figure.
Like sometimes I'll look at like the Valiant store and I'll see some of the stuff on there and just think like, why is it that like I would even want to? I mean, like, and now look, if you want to buy a pillowcase that says Valiant on it, that's cool. You know, I get it. You know, like it's a cool company and all that. We obviously think that kind of stuff because we do a podcast. But if my choice was between like a mini action figure or something, anything else maybe, and then like a duvet cover or like a pillowcase, like I'd rather just have like something else because like who's really gonna like have that room, you know? Like, do you put those in like your race car bed? I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it just doesn't make sense to have like weird things. Get things. I mean, at some point, I feel like companies should listen to fans a little bit, do a little bit like fan service, and be like, okay, we've heard you. You say you want an action figure, or you want a bust, or you want like collectible objects. We'll give them to you, you know. And then it's okay if you have like weird things like lamps, you know, or shower curtains. And I would hope that when the movie, the Bloodshot movie next 2020, when it comes out, by then hopefully they announce some more things that are a little more reasonable, a little more accessible for just like not just like the fans that have a lot of money, but for like newer fans that are going to discover these characters and who are going to dive into like the world of Valiant. I don't think they're going to want to be like, I want to get some stuff and be like, well, there's a $600 statue.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be like, peace out, man. I'll go buy like some Marvel DC stuff.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Exactly. Um, I don't know. It's just frustrating, and I know Anthony's saying like he'd rather they just put out more comics than worrying about any of the statues or figures, and I get that. But at the same time, like I'm not super. To me, the number of books that are coming out every month isn't like a really important number. Um, the quality of the books that are coming out is far more important than the number, in my opinion.
for me, like I get like having those items, and but at the same time, like the only people I ever see that have any of that stuff are like the hardcore collectors. It's not just like the everyday fan, you know. And I feel like the company's kind of always been geared that way. Like I mean, it's not like a thing where like the new Valiant heads have been like, oh, we need to put out expensive stuff. That blueprint was there before them. Because I mean, like we had that Rye statue that's just like ridiculously priced, and yeah, it's huge, it's really big, but like at the same time, it's just that's a lot of money for like collectibles for from a company that doesn't do very well getting collectibles out there in the first place. You know?
Right. They're not even selling the books at,
Yeah,
the same numbers as the big companies, and they're trying to sell these super expensive products. I don't know. It's just
yeah. I mean,
frustrating.
well, yeah. I mean, because like we're talking about a company that sells like 6,000 books, and knowing this fan base, there's probably not 6,000 fans because you have so many people who collect multiples of the variants and things like that. Maybe you do have that many fans. Who knows? But at the same time, then you're being like, okay, 6,000 people who are buying books, buy this $500 statue, buy this $600 statue. And I'm just saying, give fans like something a little bit more reasonable because it just feels like sometimes everything that's Valiant related is pricey. I
Yeah.
mean, like probably more than any other company to me.
Yeah. Because that's the only stuff that they put out. But I don't want to sit here and gripe about negativity. I want to talk about,
Positivity.
yeah. So I know I'm the one that brought up the gripe. So, I started it, now I'm ending it.
Fair enough.
But we do have like four books to review. I don't think we
Or
need to go like super deep into them, but
okay,
yeah, we have four. We've got now it's going to take me a second to pull this up so I make sure that I
we had
remember all
EXO,
four.
we had Faith, we had
EXO,
Quantum
Faith Dream Sign, Quantum and Woody 12, and wasn't there one more?
Is there one more?
Shadow Man number 9.
Oh, okay.
Did you read Shadow Man number 9?
I may not have. Damn. I didn't even know it came out. Shit.
Yeah, I
That's two months
definitely
in a row. That's 2 months in a row I haven't read Shadow Man.
great job. Um, yeah, Anthony wants to talk about how they're not going to slab the glass covers. It
Is that
sucks.
for definite? Because I heard Matthew Klein say something about how something was in the works, but
I don't
I don't
know
know.
if there is something in the works. Cool. I mean, I hope that there is, but I mean, we'll see. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of collectors that collect so that they can slab stuff, they want to have that, like the bald moose is a good example of somebody who likes to have these collectible items, and he likes to have them graded and encased and, preserved.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about like stuff like that to me is like I think looking at some of these high-end books that they've been able to grade, like the metal covers, the Secret Weapons VVSS book, and even like say like these glass covers that they do decide that they can do it. It's got to be just like super disappointing when you get like a 9.4 or 9.6 on these. And somebody had a picture of their glass cover that had like a bunch of like scrapes on it, which is like crazy to me, like for the money that these things cost. And I know that like with people who grade, they look at it like it's like some kind of weird like death sentence on their book if they don't get like a 9.8 or higher.
Yeah.
Oh, I only got a 9.6. Like it's okay, that's still near mint. You know, but I do kind of I kind of get where those guys are coming from because they spend a lot of money on those books, and then some of those people are just like they just collect books that they can grade. And I don't know if they read this stuff or they just I mean I don't know how any of that stuff works for some of them, but like I get where they're coming from. Because that's a lot of money. First off, just to pay for those books, like $250 is probably like the low end on a lot of those metal covers. I think the glass ones, I've seen some under 200, and I think they look nice. I think they're so awesome looking. But I kind of get where they're coming from a little bit. I'm not much of a grader. I don't. I mean, all the stuff I buy just stays bagged and boarded, but I get it a little bit.
It's just frustrating for the people who, collect for that. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It
it is.
sounds like there's conflicting information. I have no definitive answer on it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we've got four books to talk about. We've got well, if you didn't read Shadow Man number 9, I can go into it really quick. There was
yeah,
art by another artist, because obviously we've got Renato Gaitis doing the art on this book. But there were some pages that were done by, and I don't remember, I'm trying to pull it up, but I don't remember the name of the other artist who had done the other pages that were in this. Um, but it was a huge difference in styles. Like the first couple of pages are this other artist, and I didn't even really think about it because I was just trying to read the book. I wasn't really thinking about Renato Gaitis being the artist on it. So I just read, I'm reading those first couple pages, and it just looks like comic book art. And then it gets to the pages with Renato Gaitis, which is the bulk of the book, and it's such a huge difference. It was just a shock to me to like, oh crap, yeah, that's what this book looks like. So I don't know. It was a little bit weird. It made sense. Like the pages that were done by the other artist were like scenes that were connected and were separate from the other stuff. So like I get why it was done that way, and it's not like I'm not saying it's bad. It just was shocking because I wasn't expecting it. But I think overall, I mean, this is still just a really, 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 really good book. So much of this was done. It's Shadow Man and Alyssa in the dark side, or in the dark side, in the dead side. Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. In the dead side, and they're going to, see Sandria, and like I don't know, man. It's a really fun book. Gatis's art looks really good. I thought the other artists still did well. It wasn't the same level, but it was still good. Um, and overall, I think that yeah, I mean, I just want this book to fucking continue. But I don't know what I would score it. I would say probably. I mean, this is a really fun book. It was a really. It felt like a fast read, even though it didn't feel like it was like missing anything. But I would give this book like a 3.75. I think it's pretty high. It's not like the most amazing thing ever, but I thought it was a good, fun book.
Okay.
Definitely something I recommend. Um, and then we had Quantum and Woody 12. Hopefully you read that one.
Yes, I did read that one.
um, yeah, I mean another one that I just want to continue. I don't want it to be done. Um, I think that Elliot Rahal coming onto the book was a really good thing. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of Francis Portella's art. I really liked how Eisma was doing the book, but still, Portella is super, super solid. And so the book looked really consistent and really good. And yeah, it's just a bummer it's ending.
Yeah, first off, the thing I that kind of stood out to me was how much I actually enjoyed Francis Bertella's work on this book. I do think that there are some titles at Valiant that I like seeing him work on. I like seeing him do Gen Zero. I like seeing Quantum and Woody be a book that he worked on, and Faith. I wouldn't want to see him probably do like Renegades. Like I don't want to see him do Harbinger or Imperium or anything like that. I don't even think I'd want to see him do Ninja. I just don't think his style would really lend to those kind of books. But like all three of those other books, though, they have a lot of like fun, just straight up superhero elements to them. So I think that his art style works really well. I thought with this last issue of Quantum and Woody, his art looked great. It really did a really good job of like doing all the like emotions and things like that of the characters involved. Um, and he actually, I like how he draws like Arik, whether he's as Exo Manowar or outside of it drinking beer in a pub. You know, as far as the story goes, I thought this was a great issue. I thought that Elliot really knocked it out of the park on this one because this was kind of an issue where I feel like if this was like the middle of a storyline, there would be a bit of a complaint because it's like